Welcome to this press conference on the Nordic Council of Ministers. We start with some comments from the panel and then some Q&As afterwards. It's a limit of time, so we have to end at least at the latest at 10:50. So I give the floor to the host, the Finnish Prime Minister Sanna Marin.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so pleased that so many Nordic colleagues are here today in Helsinki for this important occasion. We are united in our response to Russia as it waged its brutal war against Ukraine. The Nordic countries are committed partners in defending the multilateral system and Ukraine's sovereignty against Russian aggression. Today, a united Nordic voice is needed more than ever in the world. We are an example of how our most pressing common challenges can be addressed. At the same time, we celebrate the Helsinki Agreement signed 60 years ago, which is the basis for official cooperation between our Nordic governments. We discuss today slowing down climate change and adapting to it. We must continue Nordic climate diplomacy and offer solutions with an impact on global emissions. As examples, we are developing zero-emission technologies and we are decarbonizing the transport sector. We must not lower the level of ambition. The Paris Agreement goal of keeping the global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius must remain achievable. We as Nordic countries have a joint vision. The Nordics will become the most sustainable and integrated region in the world by 2030. Next steps on this path were also discussed today. To conclude, we are Nordic family, and together we can create progress and bring out what is best in democracy.
Then Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre from Norway.
Thank you, Sanna, for bringing us together in Helsinki. We live in quite extraordinary turbulent times in Europe, and there is a notion among Nordics that coming together in a Nordic family is like coming home. And in times where we discuss NATO enlargement and we give full support to Finland and Sweden for joining, we discuss how Europe will manage its energy security while Russia is also waging an energy war on Europe, and while we have a brutal war unfolding in the south of Europe. It is a strength to come together as Nordics and remind ourselves that this cooperation started with something very close to people. How to manage cross-border relations, how to give people opportunity to travel and work safely. Sometimes people said, well, that's an agenda which has been outdated. I think we now are reminded that that agenda is very key. So I'm happy that we are here. I'm happy parliamentarians are coming together and that we can really address those issues. Then the way the Nordics approach some of the big international themes matters. We are obliged to meet our climate objectives by 2030. Norway and Iceland are doing this together with the European Union. And we all have to do our job there nationally. But the way we do the job will matter. And that's why we intend, and most of us prime ministers will go to Sharm el-Sheikh next week for the COP27 to state ambitions for climate change reductions. From Norway's side, we are emphasizing now with the victory of Lula da Silva in Brazil that we can reinitiate saving the Amazonas as an important contribution to the climate change combat. We have other initiatives that the Nordics know a lot about, green shipping, for example, and how to explore new renewable resources such as wind and solar. We can take experiences from the Nordic region and bring them on to the global agenda. So all this is in the vision for the Nordic cooperation towards 2030. But let me come back to the core of this. I believe it's important for the Nordic countries to communicate to young people that there is a special family here beyond your close family, which is the Nordic family. And I'm happy that here in Helsinki we are able to reiterate that. And Norway has been chairing the ministerial cooperation. Iceland will take over next year. And we are on a good path to take our cooperation forward.
the Prime Minister of Iceland, Katrin Jakobsdottir.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanna, for hosting us here in Helsinki. Always great to be here. And thank you, Jonas and Norway, for excellent leadership in the Nordic cooperation of ministers this year. It is true what they have said. It's a little bit like meeting friends and family when the Nordics come together, because in this cooperation we truly do share values, we truly share a vision. And I think that the Nordic cooperation has shown that for the last decades. Now, since we met last time at the Nordic Council, Russia started a terrible war on Ukraine, which has now been going on for over 250 days with devastating consequences for the people of Ukraine and serious and wide-ranging effects on all of us, on our security, our energy, economy and food security around the world. And our support, all of the Nordic countries, to Ukraine remains solid and unwavering. And we have seen this war actually having a huge effect on all our dialogue and discussion since it started, and obviously the upcoming NATO membership of Finland and Sweden also will change the cooperation of the Nordic countries and make it even closer when it comes to security. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about the green transition, where the Nordics also have had a very close cooperation, and I think we have a lot of opportunities. Obviously, and we are all very much aware of that, we need to do better and we need to do more. And it's very important, even though we have this difficult times in our geopolitical situation in the world, that we do everything we can to accelerate the green transition, that the energy crisis won't be a factor actually to delay the necessary action that we need to take. And I think there are a lot of opportunities to strengthen what each of us can do, for example, by cooperating through research and development, but also by adding the important social dimension in our climate action, because we are the Nordics and we all build on a strong idea of welfare. And I think that the transition that is ahead of us must not only be green, it must also be just. And I think the Nordics have a very important contribution to make there. Now, as Jonas mentioned, Iceland is taking over the chairmanship of the Nordic Council of Ministers next year, and I'm looking forward to present our program later today. And there we will continue Norway's good work, focus on ocean affairs, the greening of our economies, but also on very important issues like human rights, gender equality, LGBTI rights, and talk a little bit about peace, which I think is which is maybe the most important thing in these dire times that we are living now in Europe. Thank you.
Then we are welcoming the new Swedish Prime Minister, Ulf Kristersson.
Thank you so much, and very briefly, and as a new Swedish Prime Minister, it's really a privilege to be twice in Helsinki in 4 days. I really appreciate that. Firstly, we are very grateful for the support we've received from our Nordic neighbors in the NATO membership process. The speedy ratification and the security assurances are very appreciated and valuable for us in Sweden. And secondly, just to underline that having all the Nordic countries in the alliance will definitely contribute to the security in Northern Europe, and it will further enhance our Nordic cooperation within security and defense, obviously. Thirdly, in terms of green transition, just to stress that we are, and we need to underline that we are global leaders. As government representatives, I think we also need to emphasize that to go hand in hand with business and industry as they lead their transition and sustainability goals. I think it's important to provide the right conditions for businesses and citizens. And that's why we, and as Finland does, emphasize all the fossil-free energy sources available, because energy policy and climate policy must go hand in hand, and climate starts and ends in energy supply. Thank you so much.
And then it's Veronica Törnås from Åland.
So, thank you, Sanna, for hosting us here today. I come from Åland. We are 30,000 inhabitants, a small country in the middle of the Baltic Sea. And when the geopolitical atmosphere is unfriendly, as it is right now, it feels really, really good to be a part of the Nordic family. We do appreciate it. We are trying to make Åland as a wind power center for offshore wind. And we hope with the conditions we have for offshore wind that we could also make it such a big that we can export it to Finland and also to Sweden. So thank you, Sanna. Thank you.
Okay.
Maybe something is missing here.
Yeah, right.
Denmark. How can we be Nordic without Denmark? But yeah, it's some of you there. But I think it's important. We made the point that we are waiting for confirmation in Brazil that elections will be respected. And today we have elections in Denmark, and we have no doubt that there will be results coming out. So I think, you know, the value of democracy is being highlighted when we come together in the Nordic family.
Yeah, that's right. Greenland, Faroe Islands and Denmark is not here because of the election in Denmark. Then we open for some questions. It's I have a list, and it's MTV3 first from Finland.
MTV3 News, Antonia Berg. As you said, you discussed the situation in Ukraine and it's getting worse all the time, but what concrete things could Nordic countries do for Ukraine, not only talk, and how can you secure that the food delivery from Ukraine will be possible? You can all answer. Marine could begin.
Well, if I start, I must highlight that we are not only talking, we are acting. Together with the European Union, with our partners, we have put heavy sanctions against Russia. We have also given military material help to Ukraine, humanitarian help, economical help, and also taking refugees to Europe that are fleeing from Ukraine. So we are not only talking, we are acting, and we are acting united, we are acting together, and I want to highlight this. We also discuss about the current situation, and especially also energy. The situation in Ukraine and also Moldova to the upcoming winter when it comes to energy is very worrying, and we must make sure that also all the critical infrastructure such as energy infrastructure or water or others are being taken care of so that people can still have normal lives in Ukraine, as normal as it can be in the current situation. So we discuss about this issue, and we are very worried, and also looking what we can do more to help Ukraine and Moldova, especially when it comes, for example, to energy.
Jonas?
Well, I can reiterate what Sanna is saying. We are continuing to provide support to Ukraine, financial support for running the state, humanitarian support, medical support, receiving refugees, and then something which has not been familiar for the Nordic countries, but it is ongoing full speed, supporting Ukraine's right to defend itself, which means that we are providing military equipment to Ukraine, and we are committed to continue to do so. And then there is the additional dimension of energy in two perspectives. One is secure gas to Ukraine so they can get through the winter. This is something we all should support them in doing. We have also discussed Moldova, a small country with limited resources, put under enormous Russian pressure. They are in dire need of securing gas after Russia closed off gas to Moldova. And we should try to find a combination of supporting them. And then again, as Russia is destroying systematically by terror bombing electricity and water facilities, we should try to provide support to Ukraine so that it can be at least at the minimum rebuilt and re-established before the cold winter.
Okay, the next on my list is Swedish TT.
Yes, hello. I have a question for both the Swedish and Finnish prime ministers, and it's about NATO, of course, and nuclear weapons. So I'm wondering, will you ask for an opt-out as NATO members for the nuclear weapons, or will you accept nuclear weapons on your territories in peacetime? Or maybe go for the Norwegian and Danish solutions? Thank you.
Well, thank you about the question. I discussed today earlier with General Director Stoltenberg about the current situation concerning the ratification of our membership applications. Especially our eyes are now on Hungary and, of course, Turkey. And we are waiting for these countries to ratify our applications. I think it would be very important that this would happen, preferably sooner than later. When it comes to the conditions, I think, and Finland has talked about the matter, that we shouldn't put any preconditions. This isn't something that we are actively now discussing. We are waiting to become members, and then these kind of matters can be discussed also later. We have a process in Finland where we are discussing our foreign and security policy, and I think this would be a natural process to also discuss about these matters. But we have decided that we don't want to close any doors for the future to make the decisions that we think are right. But we are not actively discussing now of these issues.
Thank you. Well, actually, you will receive exactly the same answer from me, actually, as from the Finnish PM. I think that it's very natural for Sweden and Finland to act very jointly in these matters and have exactly the same formalization. So I have no other intention than doing exactly this, go hand in hand, also in this sense with Finland. And of course, we acknowledge the fact that we embrace NATO's all capabilities as NATO is today, but I think Sweden and Finland should make exactly the same, draw exactly the same conclusions.
Okay, NCB Norway.
Yes, hello. I also have a question about NATO membership. My first question is to you, Ulf Kristersson. You said when you were in Brussels that you were hoping for a speedy process and that you will travel to Ankara as soon as possible. So I was wondering if you have any date ready for this travel. And also a question for Kristersson and Marin. When do you expect that you can formally become members of NATO? Will you have to wait to after the election in Turkey, or can it happen sooner? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me first of all just underline that it is a speedy process. It is. 28 countries out of 30 has already ratified. That's speedy, I would say. And then we fully respect that every country within the alliance makes their own decision. I had a telephone call with President Erdogan the other day, and we agreed on me coming to Ankara, and I will communicate the exact date when it is formally and confirmed.
Well, of course, it's not up to us when Hungary or Turkey will ratify. Of course, we hope that would happen very soon. As Ulf very well said, so many countries has already ratified, and very quickly. And that only highlights that Finland and Sweden are capable of becoming NATO members as soon as possible. So of course we hope that this would go smoothly and Turkey and Hungary would ratify as soon as possible, but it's up to them when they are making sure that this will happen.
Okay, got a question over there. Denmark. Can you say who you're representing?
Yeah, I'm representing the Nordic Journalist Center. We're having elections in Denmark today, mentioned here now. The only thing that we know that we can expect is a change in the political landscape in Denmark, also having parties with another approach to international collaboration. Have you discussed this situation with shifts in the political landscapes in Denmark, also what we saw in Sweden a few weeks ago? Thank you.
No, we have stated our clear trust in Danish democracy. They will vote, they have their intense campaign, and we will await the results. And the Nordic family remains intact. That's the point.
Okay, last question goes to Estonian journalist over there, first row.
Arni Alandi from Estonian Public Broadcasting Company. And my question is to Prime Minister of Sweden, Ulf Kristersson. Is the new government of Sweden still committed to help Ukraine and help it also by military means? And do you have a consensus about it inside of government? Thank you.
Thank you. The answer is crystal clear. Yes, we have a consensus. As Jonas just said previously, there is a financial support, there is a political support, obviously, there is also military support, and we will increase that support. And the defense minister is actually these coming days elaborating on exactly how we will do in the future. But there is a total consensus within the government and a very, very broad majority also in Parliament for this support to Ukraine.
Okay, that ends this press conference. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much.
See you later.
See you.